Welcome to installing the SX Enterprise client on a PC. This example will use SX Enterprise 6.1, Progress 11.1, and Windows 7. Happens to be a 64-bit version of Windows. Some prerequisites that you need. You will need your Progress client networking license key. This you should have received from Infor when you received your Progress 11. If not, we've got to request that from Infor Extreme Support. And then you will also need to know the location of your Progress install files and the location of your SX Enterprise installation. On my Windows 7 PC here, I am logged in as an administrator user. I am going to open up my computer and I'm going to connect to my file share on my server that has my Progress install. Typically this may be called something like SX app. I'm going to go to SX app, I'm going to go to Progress, and I'm going to go to Progress 11.1. Notice the 11.1 is a 32-bit version. That's what's currently supported by Infor. Even if your PC is running a 64-bit version of Windows, the client is still 32-bit. If I scroll down through the client files, I will find a setup, and I want to make sure it's the setup.exe. It's going to be the application one. It's typically got that little blue icon. I want to right-click on it, and I want to run it as administrator. That will force it to have or allow it to have all the permissions it needs to install. And basically I'm going to follow this install through. And let's watch this. Ideally your Windows 7 machine should be fairly well patched and fairly current. This one happens to have Service Pack 1 and most of the patches installed. Nothing real special other than standard Windows stuff. I'm going to click Next through the license screen or the license agreement screen, and now it asks me for my license key and should say client networking is the product to be installed. Give it a Next. Destination directories, the defaults are fine. The only reason you would ever want to change these would be if you were installing multiple versions of Progress on your system. You might have a different directory for each version. Accept defaults. I'm going to do a complete install. If I do a complete install, it also gets the ODBC drivers, which are necessary to use things like Crystal Report, Hyperion reporting, Excel access, that kind of stuff. The Sonic questions here, I'm going to skip through those. Again, basically accepting defaults. Program file location is fine. Give it a Next. The language, make sure you're English. Nothing special there. Your character case collation date format, number format, the defaults are correct. Give it a Next and give it a Next. What it's going to do is it's going to go out and it's going to install Progress on your PC. And again, depending on the speed of your PC, typically this takes a minute or two. Some system requirements for your PC. This one, again, like I said, is Windows 7, 64-bit, happens to have 4 gigabytes of RAM and a dual-core processor. It's a year or so old. Just to give you an idea. As far as available disk space, there should be a gigabyte or more free on your PC. Again, if it's a fairly new PC, that usually isn't a problem. The setup instructions for Windows XP are pretty much the same. Our general recommendation is you should be moving to Windows 7. Or possibly even Windows 8. We do have this running on Windows 8 as well, and again, the instructions are pretty much the same. So let's let this install. Like I said, it takes a minute or two. And again, it's dependent upon the speed of your PC and the network and where you're getting the files from, that kind of stuff. You could also have copied these progress install files to a USB key or to a CD or a DVD and loaded them directly to the PC. But I think we'll find in most cases the source files are downloaded to or located on the SX Enterprise staging server. And it does do some thinking once it's done here. I want to leave this play in the video though, so you can see what the screens look like. You can certainly fast forward through the section if you wish. Installs the ODBC drivers. Again, keep in mind these happen to be 32-bit ODBC drivers. If you do want the 64-bit ODBC drivers for some reason, those can be downloaded freely from Progress. Call us on that, and we can help you. Some applications like 64-bit ODBC now. Just depends on what you're doing. You can also install the ODBC package on a machine without actually using a Progress client license, which is kind of cool. Okay, now my setup is done. I click Finish, and essentially I have loaded Progress on my machine. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to install the SX Enterprise code to our PC. The SX Enterprise code is the compiled programs from Infor that allow us to access the database and provide the front end and all that kind of stuff. That again will reside on your staging machine. It's in a hidden share called INS $. So I'm going to do an SX app INS $, hit return, and I get a list of stuff. If I scroll down here, I will find a setup. Again, same type of icon as in the Progress one. I'm going to right-click on that, and I'm going to run as administrator. Again, it's important that you run it as administrator so you get full permissions to the PC. Run as administrator, and our install starts up. All right, on the beginning screen, I do a next. And what I want to do with it, yes, you do want to download procedure libraries, and yes, you probably want to add a shortcut to your desktop. The first one's required. The second one is optional, but defaults are good, so let's leave it at that. Next, it tells what it's going to install. Notice it's going to install it in CNXT. This is just the way it works. If you need it installed somewhere else, give us a call and we can help you install it to a different directory. There are also catches here if you're running multiple versions of SX Enterprise. Keep in mind if you've got your primary version installed in CNXT, this will overwrite whatever is there. So keep that in mind. If you are running multiple versions of SX.e, you also want to talk to us to see how to install that. But it basically gives you the default, or gives you the information as to what's being loaded. Let me give it a next. and it goes and does some magic. Copies programs. The biggest thing that's got to copy here is the what's called standard.pl. That is the actual thing that contains all the code. If you do an upgrade or a patch or something like that, that's typically done on what's called the staging server. And once those patches are done and the SX is installed on the clients like we're seeing here, from that staging server we can send the updates then out to the clients. So really you typically only have to do this once on the client unless again you're doing a major version upgrade or something like that. So I'm going to click finish, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Let's close that window. You will notice the newer versions of SX Enterprise also put a TWL online icon out here. If you've got TWL, this is important to you. If you don't, it is not. So I'm going to throw that in my trash. And then I have my SX Enterprise icon. I'm going to double click on it. And again, if all goes well, I should see an SX Enterprise login. And I should be able to log in as a user into the system. And there is my SX Enterprise. Good to go on my client. Thank you for watching.